think you have to develop trust, you have to have a working relationship. I think you have to lay ground rules down very quickly that obviously you work a lot on a 1-to-1 or 1-to-4, 1-to-5. You may be working, our members might be working with very young goalkeepers, in which case trust is very important. They have to know that when they come along to receive a session, it's going to be well prepared, well presented. They're going to be there when they're needed. Sometimes the coach has to sense that I'm sure the members will appreciate. If they're in goal, they might have games where it doesn't go as well. Has the actual coach got the skills to deal with the empathy, the sympathy part, which eventually develops a relationship, that there is a trust factor there, that they know the goalkeeper can approach the coach for help, for advice. So I think you have to be realistic in terms of how you deal with the goalkeeper, but there has to be this trust element, that they know they can come to you, they're going to get an honest answer, it might not always be the answer they want, but I tend to want to say to the goalkeepers a lot of the time, it's not you on your own, it's we. And that tends to work for me in my experience, or the members, whatever age group you're starting out with, it's important that it's a we aspect. So if they lose, it's we. Okay, I can help you on this, we can help this, we can work through this. When you win, it's great. It's easy to be a we when you've won it. But if you've got that trust and you build that relationship, they know they're not on their own. They know they can have that nice trust and availability, that they can access the coach for advice, ask the questions. They'll be encouraged by me to go and speak to parents, speak to other players. Parents are important. They're a good feedback. They spend a lot of time with the boy, girl after a game. So if you get the basis built in with the trust factor early on, it leads for very, very, very good relationship ongoing, because most of these members that we have now, you're dealing with some of these goalkeepers for 7, 8, 9 months of the year. You know, seasons get longer with the time you do pre-season training games. So that trust, that relationship, but I must warn the members, it takes time. The one thing you must have is patience. This does not happen overnight. So you have to have little ways which we can help you with in terms of building that trust. So we'll come on during the course of the season the various ways you as members can help to develop that trust and that relationship with your goalkeepers. I think from the onset you have to very quickly say to your realistic objectives. A lot of the time I hear a lot of, and again for the benefit of the members, it's so good asking the goalkeeper to say, are you going to keep 25 clean sheets this season? Because would that be realistic at all levels? If we had 25 clean sheets, you'd all be working at the top level now. So what you have to do is be realistic in terms of what you set out. I would always say to them, set objectives in terms of what are we looking to do? Have a short-term goal. So if it's pre-season, what are we going to look to do first and foremost? First and foremost, I think we're going to get our basic handling, our footwork, maybe our general fitness may have to be improved. A lot of the time now, in the olden days, kids, because of the fact they go off to summer camps, they do a lot of other activities, they don't really lose a great deal of fitness, but they will lose the goalkeeping fitness. And our fitness is totally different. So in terms of the pre-season, I think it's very important that you look at the basics first, which is you have to look at your physical corner, have they come back, can we improve the feet, can we get the hands back where they were when they finished the season, can we look at the elements of incorporating practices with the outfield. So how long are you looking as a coach or as a member coach, how long would you be looking to be in isolation? How long would you be looking then to say, after 3 weeks, after 4 weeks, I really need to be involved with the outfield? So how quickly is your games program? So you need to have meetings with your actual outfield coaches to say, right, what's your actual schedule on the training that we've got? So based on that, you'll know what's the sort of split times I've got, how long have I got with the goalkeepers, how long have I got with passing the goalkeepers over to the team. So all these questions have to be asked in order for you to be planned and prepared. And then really, again, it's about saying short-term goals are that. Right, now, where do you want to be by, let's say, Christmas time? Christmas time is always a good threshold. If you work towards that, it's virtually halfway through the season. Where do you want to be then? So you might have said, there's a massive importance, for we must improve my ability to deal with crosses. So we'll go into various ways with all the members in terms of how we can improve that. and how we do that review process. But that might be one topic that you want to really focus on. So have a short term, have a plan. I like to work between 4 and 6 weeks. So on that 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to focus on your first step movement. We're going to look at your hand position. We're going to look at your head position. On the next 6 weeks, we're going to make sure then you're going to go more into working with a team. Communication might be an aspect. So you have to do some form of planning and preparing with the other coaches. Then you pass that on to the goalkeeper and say, this is what we're looking to do. Where are we looking to be after 6 weeks? Where we're looking to be by Christmas? And then we won't even look. How far do you think we're going to be in terms of where you're going to be at the end of the season? I sometimes think with younger, so our members that are working with younger kids, the younger goalkeepers won't look that far ahead. If you're dealing with people that are involved at a senior level, under 16, under 18, they're fine, they may want to be. They might be working towards a contract. They might be working towards being scouted by somebody. So they're all at different levels. You as a coach have to be adaptable. I challenge them. I like to challenge them. So if we were doing, let's say we're doing shot stopping. So I would say within this practice, I'd expect you, because of the serves, I'd expect you, how many do you think you'd realistically catch? So give them a challenge. So you might turn and say, well, I really should be looking at between 5 and 6. Good, okay, challenge that, good. And when they do it, praise them. Praise them. Then say, right, what areas do you think you need to work on this week, next week? So all of a sudden they're part of the process. And that really is members, you should be looking to do that. Can we get the goalkeepers to buy into the process? Again, we're back to what we had previously, it's about we. So within the training, you're actually saying, okay, so you want to spend a bit more time on your footwork? You want to spend a bit more time, okay, I've planned this session, but I can change that around. And all of a sudden, they're being asked. You know, we don't do that enough. Sometimes it's too coach driven. Academy setups have done that, where we're totally coach driven. Right, this is what I've got to get through. Under the EPPP, I've got to get this done. You as a coach, you as a member coach, try and get the goalkeepers to buy in. You watch what you get. When you actually say, do you want to show me a better way that you can actually make that 1 or 2 step dive? And they might come up with something. You're involving them in the process. That's a great way for me to motivate. The other good way for me is, I think there's 2 main ways that when you've got your training sessions that they, as goalkeepers, and as a member coach, you'd want. The 2 best ways of feedback is visual and verbal. So if you actually got somebody if you get permission, so it might be a parent, and you have to be careful, under 16 and 18, you have to be careful, members, that you make sure you've got permission to video. But if you do video, what a great feedback. You might be able to stop it halfway through. So I've done it before where the parent has been happy to bring his iPad, I've got his permission, and he's videoed his boy. We stop the session 20 minutes through, we go over the iPad. You want to see the kid's face. So there are always various ways of doing it. The parent all of a sudden feels part of the process. The goalkeeper feels part of the process. We're actually reviewing it, so not just visual, we're actually verbally saying, look, there you are. Look when you got that extra step in. That save was made. So you have to find ways, and then you might say, I'll tell you what, next week, if we've worked on 1 and 2 step diving, bring me some evidence from the internet on a goal or a save that you've seen that you thought, that's very similar to what I did. So you can do the homework. And I've given homework to 16, 18, 20-year-olds. Go away, watch your match of the day, watch whatever Sky highlights you've got, and based on that session, did you see any of the pros? Who's your hero? Have you seen him make a save that you actually could have said, do you know what, I did that in training? A great way again, that he goes away from the training session, you've empowered him. He's felt part of it. He's then going to take that away, check for something, might ask his dad, might ask his mum, might ask his brother. If you see something on there, oh, show me that save. Well, great coverage now, so there's no excuse. You can go on the internet, you can watch your Sky highlights, your BBC highlights, and you might be able just to pick that off and go, boom, show me that, save it. Next week he comes in, oh, hey Eric, that's what I found. So members, there's all different ways, and it doesn't cost a great deal of money. It just costs you a little bit more effort and time to prepare, and that way you get your goalkeepers to buy into the process of trying to improve and make them better goalkeepers. Biggest advice I would give is be patient. Goalkeepers do not come back like outfield players. They do need a little bit more time. I never felt, and I'm going back as a player now, whether I was at Derby, Watford or Newcastle, I never ever felt that I was really back into how I could play till about 4 or 5 games in. I felt that 6 weeks was really about making sure the fitness levels were right, I had the agility, I'd done the work in the gym, and I feel that a lot of the member coaches you'll probably find is that you have to be patient, because the goalkeepers all come back at different levels. Some are natural. Ray Clements could go away and do nothing pre-season and turn up and be exactly the same goalkeeper. Natural, magnificent. I know other goalkeepers that have to go through the process of working through Monday to Friday where they cover all the aspects. You can't cover everything in 6 weeks. So what you've got to do is try and get the training program right, try and get the game program time, that's important, but don't expect your goalkeepers to be at the top in everything that you're asking them to do. It will take time. So I think patience is a great thing during pre-season, and that you have to show that. So if it's little Johnny, so if one of our members have got an under 10, under 11 group, you actually say to them, don't worry. How many actual touches did you have today with your feet? Oh, you had 10. How many did you have last week? 6. Oh, great, well done, 4. How many of them found did you play to feet? How many did you play to space? Well, didn't play many to space. Okay, you're getting your game going again. You're getting the actual game program is about linking with the outfield players. You've done your isolation work. So again, I'm back to it. There has to be some patience shown by the goalkeeping coach as well as the team, the manager coach. Because I think they expect all of a sudden to say, he doesn't look anywhere near it. He mightn't be. Some do. So I think patience is a great thing. And I think as a coach, so as member coaches, make sure you don't expect too much too early. You've got to believe in that gradual process that you're building and building to the first game. It's not good if your goalkeeper peaks in the first 2 weeks. He's got to peak when the season kicks off and then you're into your game program and you start to see small improvements week in, week out. So patience is the virtue, and I think that's great in terms of encouraging the keeper to say, don't worry about that. A little thing that always used to bug me was, I used to find I got beaten in the near post. I don't know why, my angles weren't right in the first 2-3 weeks. But by 4, 5, 6 weeks, I'd worked through that and I've learned, what was I doing there? Luckily I had a coach and a manager when I was doing it. It was happening in training, we'd go and put it right. So there'll be aspects of the game that the goalkeepers may need more work on than others. That's the skill of you. As a coach, make sure you've got to show that patience, show that build-up, structure, have your plans, have your session plans. Don't go in blind, but look to build it. Depend very much upon the age group I'm working with. I think goal setting would be a totally different thing I was dealing with. So if members are dealing with younger age groups, 8, 9, 10s, 11, 12s, you must make it fun, it must be enjoyable. If you're talking about 13, 14 upwards, yeah, I would do goal setting. Excuse me. I'd be looking to say to them, okay, what are we aiming for? Big word again, we. What are we aiming for? So you might get a 14-year-old come along and go, I want to stay in the team. Okay. How are you going to stay in the team? Perform well. How are you going to perform well? Work up my strengths. Good, yeah. What else? Areas I need to improve? I need to improve on that. Okay. So what we'll do then, we'll devise a program. That's the outcome. We need to improve on that, A, B and C. Right. I'm the coach. Now I'll look at the process to get you to that outcome. So I'd go away and I'd say to them, okay then, if that's what you think, that's where you want to be, how do you think we're going to get from where we are now to the outcome of improving that particular part of your game? Let them go away. They'll brainstorm themselves. They'll come back and go, well, maybe I need to do a little bit more work on that, or I might be more specific in that area. I don't need as much work on my dead ball kicking, but my side-on volleys are nowhere near. So in terms of the counter-attack and the outfield coach wants to do, I've got to go away and do some more work on that. Okay, I'll build that in. Come back together. You have to agree them outcomes. You have to agree them goals. So it's no good being where eventually there's an argument. No. So it has to be agreed. That's the outcome. I'd have gone back again. That's the process we'll use. What about you? Okay, we'll spend a little bit more time on that. Spend more time on that. But again, we're back to visual, verbal, very important. So can we get any backup? So can we review it after 6 weeks where we've got some video evidence? Great, sit down, look at it. What do you think? Write a report, keep that report. Agree it, sign it, both of you, file it. Copy for the goalkeeper, copy for the coach. 6 weeks later, same again, back, review it. So it's a constant process, and doesn't have to be painstakingly long, but as members, we're back to it again. You've got to show the P's are important: patience, preparation, look at performance. And look at performance whether it's good, bad or indifferent. Go through the same process. Don't dismiss a bad performance or a bad result. Sometimes the goalkeeper will have played the best he's played in a bad result. And what happens is we sometimes get sidetracked by the result. So it's important that we look at the performance a lot of the time. And then when you get your set periods, if it's 4 to 6 weeks or 6 weeks only, then you'll do your reviews and you sit down. Then we will say, right, how do you think it's gone? The other thing I look to do sometimes is at the start of the season, it's interesting where you'll go to your outfield coach and go, how do you see our goalkeeper at the moment? And they'll say, what do you mean? Well, go on, technically, tactically, physically, psychologically, socially, how is he? And just mark them 1 out of 10. 1 to 10, what do you think? And it's always interesting to get their view of how they see the goalkeeper. And then I'll go, okay, that's interesting. Tell you what, we've got some things we're going to work through. Let's come back and address that in 6 weeks. What do you think now? Oh, cross-taking. It's gone from a 6 to a 7. So all of a sudden you've got the outfield coach who's starting to want to believe in what we're doing as well. So there's various ways of buying into that process. And outfield coaches are important because if we're going to integrate goalkeepers with outfield, you're going to integrate the coaches as well. So you get your dialogue within a team setup. If you're a member coach and you're purely working with goalkeepers, that's you'll have a different set of outcomes, different set of goals. But in a team environment, I think you can do both. Build with the goalkeeper, but also build your relationships with the outfield coaches. Well, I can remember when I went to Atletico Madrid. I always tell the story. I went to Atletico Madrid on a visit, and I didn't speak Spanish at the time, but I actually went round. I was in a room, and I luckily had one guy who was terrific, spoke both obviously languages. I said, can you just ask the coaches out of interest, what's their preferred system? And every coach started with 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 4, 3, 3. I bring that back and I go back into some English clubs I've been to. What's your preferred system? 5, 3, 2, 4, 3, 3. I go, you don't play with the goalkeeper? And they're like, shocked. I go, yeah, they're an important part of the team. It's the biggest phrase I have. Why do you want to make them apart? Make them apart. And we have really, really worked hard. So within my role within the English FA of coach education, it's been a huge part of the new licenses that we are integrating coaches. Because otherwise, the understanding of the game now, and I think England have seen that in the last 4 or 5 years with the introduction of the new DNA, that if you're going to look to play, we're going to look to play in various ways. And that will always involve a goalkeeper. So the importance and the relevance of actually working together as coaches should be for the benefit of the team. And the goalkeeper's a major part of that team. You know, where do most of the restarts happen? Goal kick, free kick in the defensive third, who starts play off? Corner, who comes, takes the corner, who sets up, counter-attacking. So there's been a great move within the coach education system in England, and it's working the same, I'm sure, in Scotland, to involve both the outfield players with the goalkeepers, and that should be passed through the same thread with the GK coaches working alongside. And there's a time and a place when you have to recognise if you're a member and you're working within a framework of a teamwork, of a team where you've got to say, right, okay, don't forget, we as coaches, whether it's assistant coach, a GK coach, fitness coach, we're paid to give opinions. The man who picks the team, he's paid to pick the team. So you give opinions, and when you're asked, make sure you've got your opinion. But ultimately, you have to respect who picks the team eventually. So I think the relationships are building, they're getting better. You know, we're no longer just go in the corner with 6 discs and a bag of balls. we're involved now. So certainly within my role as a coach educator, that's been a huge move over the way that the UEFA A GK licence has been evolved in the last 3 years, and we're really down the road of integration between coaches. I think it's major. Otherwise, I don't see how we can actually encourage GKs to be part of the team if the coaches aren't working that way as well. So at the moment, I think we've made some great strides, and I think we're seeing now the importance. So you see what Neuer does for Bayern as well as Germany, you know, and you see what De Gea did when he came into Man United. He took over from Edwin van der Sar. Why? Because we looked to play through the thirds, but we also used Edwin to counter-attack. So my task was make sure we got a goalkeeper that can follow Edwin van der Sar. He's a major part of the team, and that was the way it was always talked. Now it's not always that case. You have to be prepared as a member. Can you work within the framework that you're given? So you might be at the present time purely working on the GK, technically, but somewhere along the line you need to be involved tactically. Now that takes time, and we'll probably talk through that during the course of the season. Really touching upon the last point, I think that it's pointless. You can do crossing in isolation. It's always the big one for me. You can deal with crosses in terms of what we did a little bit in terms of the physical preparation. I think what you have to do, there's a physical preparation that you have to have. You've got to be an athlete first now. To be a top goalkeeper, you need to be a top athlete. So you've got to link in terms of your gym sessions are important. So if you're even working with younger, so if our members are working with younger age groups, there are still now where you can go and access enough fitness work. There's enough expertise out there, whether it's online or within a David Lloyd or some form of membership at a club, that you could see that the goalkeeper can be helped physically. Nutrition's a major part now. The goalkeeper doesn't have to have anywhere near 30% less carbohydrates are needed for the top goalkeepers. They don't need to eat that much carb compared to the outfield because of what their input and output ratios are. And we've come a long way on sports science in terms of how much we help. So linking into your fitness aspect, linking into your nutrition aspect. Then I also think that the importance then is of the planning and the preparation, which we've touched on already, is that you have to be planned and prepared in order to get the best from your goalkeeper. You must have some structure, both short-term, mid-term and long-term. But the importance again of keepers can do so much in isolation, they must be involved with the team, and they must be involved in, as I'm sure we're going to come down to, and I'm more than happy to show you how they can be involved in small-sided games more so. So it's a case of making sure you as a coach are prepared to listen to other members of staff, or can you then go and get that expertise to help you on the physical, on the nutrition, on the tactical side as well. So gain opinions and then be prepared to develop all of those different assets. Well, I think we've already I've touched on it. You've got to hitch your wagon for me to the 2 V's again. So I might talk about the P's, I'm now talking about the V's. The V's are the visual and the verbal. You can have all these other magnificent computer programs, you've got everything else. The 2 best reward systems and reviews that I've ever had is the visual and the verbal. So if you can actually physically bring a goalkeeper into a room, and if you're at a pro club, you'll have an analyst now, and they'll have a special room and an edited room, etc. What you'd be looking to do is to say, right, verbally, there's the report. If we've agreed objectives, right, let's have a look at that. How's the structure worked? Then I'd say you'd also then, if you're at a pro level, totally different because you'd be reviewing, you'd be planning, you'd be working, you'd be reviewing performance come Saturday, come midweek, come Saturday. If you're at a club level, you wouldn't have that facility as such. But I think what you have to do, if you're a member, you have to find a way to actually visually, are you able to give them any sort of feedback? So there's that much now available whereby you can get, again, we're back to it, might be a parent, might be a coach that's prepared to help you on a training session, video it, use that as a feedback. That might be on a weekly, a monthly or a 6-week. You might then have to review match performance. That isn't always videoed. If you're working, again, if the members are working at lower levels, that's difficult. But I think, again, if you can actually have an agreed set of terms and conditions that you say, right, this is what we're going to work towards, I think that will work. But I think the two V's are the important ones. So if you can verbally say, there's the report, how much of that do we agree on? So on that, I think that everybody wants feedback. And the timing and the skill of the coach is when you do it and how you do it. Sometimes certain goalkeepers don't want to hear you straight after a game. You're better off leaving it. Phone call, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Or we'll leave it when we see each other again on the next session, Tuesday or Wednesday. There's a skill involved in that. So number one, the coach has to develop the relationships with the different goalkeepers. He then has to know what's going to happen on the team side of it. Will there be a review with the team? So is he going to review it on a personal basis with the goalkeeper? Is it going to be reviewed with the team? So you will build in your own system. And again, we'll go back to some of the original questions. That trust has to be with all the coaches as well as the goalkeepers. But I certainly think the best two ways for me, and it's been proven over the years, is the visual and the verbal. And once you've got that trust, you develop them relationships, it does come a lot easier. So that the coach knows that he can go to the player and say, we'll leave it today, what about going there? The player might come and go, I need to speak. I wasn't happy about a certain aspect. Again, what do you think? So again, you're not just developing a relationship from a goalkeeper to a coach, you actually develop a personal relationship as to how they see things. So it's important then, and I would say to the members, the big one on the actual reviewing is that if you're dealing with the lower age groups, I think the parents are important. So I talk about my triangle: parent, coach, player. Very, very important that you do get the parents, they can help you buy in. Because if you want homework doing, and you haven't got a brother that's playing football or soccer, who do you look upon? I used to ask my mum used to do me, throw 6 balls at me and I'd catch left-handed only and then right-handed only. So the parents are vital to all of these processes that we've talked about. They have to understand why we're doing it. And most parents are there to say, how can we help? So you must involve the parents when you deal with the younger age groups in the process. So whether it be goal setting, outcomes or review, bring the parent in along. Don't keep them in isolation. Sometimes a lot of coaches I've dealt with, they wonder why they've only brought the parents in at the end of the season. I don't think that's the right way. So as members, I would say to you, involve your parents from the start of the season. This is what we're looking to do, especially with your 8s, 9s and 10s up to 13s, 14s. Make sure you bring the parents in and say, look, this is what we're looking to hope and try to achieve. We'll need your help on this because you're going to have to drive him or her, to training twice a week and games on a Sunday. So parents are a major, major part. So they must be involved in the process as well. And they can be involved in the review as well. Be prepared to learn. Be a learner. Be a sponge. Learn to listen. Develop structure within your coaching format. Be prepared to go and learn and develop yourself. So if you want to be a better coach, do you know enough about physical side, physical components? So you do it directly, indirectly. Directly you go and ask somebody within your club who is the sports science, who is the conditioning coach. If as a member you haven't got access to that, go and study. Go and do a course. Go and learn how to do weightlift in a safe and proper manner. Go and learn how to improve speed. Go and learn how to do plyometrics. If you want to do more in-depth studies in terms of the goalkeepers, mentally, do a psychology course online. So look to improve yourself. You become a sponge. Go and watch other coaches work. Go and watch coaches work at different development stages. Go and watch how a coach works between 8s and 11s, foundational level. Go and watch how a coach then changes when they go to the 11v11 at 12 to 13. If you can, go in and get yourself into a pro club and watch how you see 6 goalkeepers working within the club compared to when you go sometimes, and I go along to whatever private courses are going on and I see 32 kids with one coach and I go, how they can learn I do not know. You have to be prepared, A, improve yourself as a coach and be prepared to listen, watch, observe other coaches, but then B, Be prepared, plan, have a structure that can progress sessions and also regress sessions. And then always be prepared to learn. You never stop learning. I've not stopped learning now. I still want to go and watch other people. I'll go and watch sessions and I might only take 5% from that session. So I never ever believe that I now, as experienced as I am, know everything about how to coach. What I have done is I've learned by doing that. You can learn at different levels. And don't forget as well, as members, you might have a skill that tells you you are working terrifically well with an age group of 8 to 12. That might be your forte. Or you might have, you can't always end up at senior level. I know a lot of coaches that are terrific from 8 to 16 and they stay at that level. There is nothing wrong with that. Be the best at whatever level you're at. If you want to progress, you've got to understand how you have to progress. And I'm back to it. Be a sponge. Be prepared to learn. Be prepared to listen. Be prepared to go that extra yard to improve yourself. Because ultimately, if you improve yourself, I believe you as a member, you're going to improve the goalkeeper.